Good evening, everyone. Chief Meteorologist Matt Holiner. I wanted to talk about this next winter storm, which certainly looks like is going to have bigger impacts to the south of us, but it is going to scrape southern Wisconsin, and I do think could cause some issues for some of us. So let's get right to the timing here. Starting at 3 a.m. tonight, very late tonight, we could start to see some isolated rain showers pop up. We jump ahead now to 9 a.m., and it looks like there's going to be a little bit more activity. We'll call it scattered rain showers, particularly around the Madison area. It might still just be isolated activity around Racine, Kenosha. But as we transition to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, notice how there's a little bit more activity starting to push into the southeastern tip of the state. And still looking at scattered activity around the Madison area. But notice it's still all rain 3 o'clock Wednesday. But after 3 o'clock, colder air is going to be coming in, and we're going to start to see a transition and our precipitation types. And there'll probably be a brief period of freezing rain, brief period of sleet, and then eventually snow. Now, I will say that the period of freezing rain and sleet looks to be very small around the Madison area. It'll probably be a little bit longer around Racine, Kenosha, where in general we're going to see more impacts from the system. This is 9 o'clock Wednesday, and this particular model is saying it's probably still rain around Racine, Kenosha, but in that freezing rain sleet zone around Madison. And then eventually the temperatures will continue to drop and it'll transition to snow. Notice 3 a.m. Thursday, so very late Wednesday night or early Thursday morning, depending on your definition. Maybe in that freezing rain sleet zone around Racine, Kenosha, but in the snow in Madison, looking like mainly light snow. Now, here's something interesting. We jump ahead to 9 a.m. Thursday morning, and there may be a lull in the activity. Nothing may be coming down at all 9 a.m. Thursday. But then another little wave of low pressure is going to come through in the afternoon. And this is the greatest uncertainty in the forecast. Because if the low tracks a little bit farther north, that could really bump up the snow totals, particularly in southeastern Wisconsin, around the Racine, Kenosha area. But if it tracks farther south, it could be not very much snow. And there's good confidence now that the wave wouldn't make it to the Madison area. But that wave of snow in the afternoon on Thursday could impact the Racine, Kenosha area. There could be a period during the afternoon on Thursday with heavy snow coming down. It won't last long because check out 9 o'clock Thursday. That area of snow is already to our east. But we're watching Thursday afternoon for a period where some heavier snow will be coming down. So how much snow are we talking about? Well, as you can see, definitely a focus in the southeastern part of the state. Racine, Kenosha, looking at least according to this model, which, again, I'm showing this model because it's kind of in the middle of all the models. I still want to keep a range of possibilities in mind, but I'm going to show you this model because it's kind of in the middle of where all the models are. 3.5 inches around Racine, Kenosha, but then look around Madison, closer to just a half an inch, and places like Baraboo and Portage even less than that. And then there's a good chunk of the state that's not seeing any snow at all. But there's going to be a tight snowfall gradient, and I do think, as you can see here, not only are we going to see more snow around the Racine, Kenosha area versus Madison, probably going to see a little more freezing rain and sleet as well. So let's talk about possibilities. Around the Racine, Kenosha area, it's possible we could get up to about 0.02 of an inch of freezing rain and maybe 0.2 of an inch of sleet. Meanwhile, around the Madison area, it's possible there may be none at all or just a little bit. So, especially in between Madison and Racine, Kenosha, for this kind of amount of freezing rain and sleet, we're not going to have widespread road issues, but it's just enough freezing rain, enough ice to cause some slick spots and maybe some secondary roads, bridges, overpasses. There's also just enough freezing rain maybe to cause a very thin glaze of ice on your windshield that you might have to scrape off, and a little bit of ice on plants. But fortunately, this is not going to be a crippling ice storm by any means. And then after the freezing rain and sleet, there will be snow. And I do think the place that's probably going to see the most snow will be the Kenosha. I think on the low end, 2.5 inches of snow. But if that wave of snow that we're tracking for Thursday afternoon overachieves maybe as much as 4.5 inches of snow for Kenosha. Racine, a little bit less because you're a little bit farther north, going with a range of 2 to 4 inches of snow for you. Lake-Geneva, looking at a range of about 1.5 to 3.5 inches. And then things start to fall off significantly. For Beaver-dam, Madison, probably only looking at 1/2 inch to 1 inch of snow when it's all said and done. And then for Portage and Baraboo, it's possible we could miss out on the snow or just get a quick dusting if the snow overachieves. I still think it's only going to be about 1/2 inch for Baraboo and Portage. All right, so let's summarize all of this. We're going to start to see a little bit of rain pop up very late tonight, and then we'll see more and more of the rain as we go through the early afternoon on Wednesday. Now, from the late afternoon Wednesday and through the evening hours, we'll call it a wintry mix, where we're going to have rain transitioning to a brief period of freezing rain, and then sleet, and then snow. And it does look like there'll be a little bit more freezing rain, sleet around Racine, Kenosha, and there will be around the Madison area. Then from late Wednesday night and through the day on Thursday, it's going to be all snow at that point. And what we're most concerned about, as far as low visibility and when we might have the biggest impacts on roads, is Thursday afternoon. Now, not for the Madison area, but around Racine, Kenosha, there could be a period of heavy snow Thursday afternoon before everything winds down early Thursday evening. So for the Madison area, from this system, you know how it goes. When there's rain, when there's a little bit of snow, a little bit of freezing rain, a little bit of sleet, there'll be some slowdowns, but we do think it's going to be very minimal travel problems. We're not expecting widespread issues, but I do think there are going to be more issues around the Racine, Kenosha area. We're going to have more snow there, a little bit more freezing rain, a little bit more sleet, and while it's certainly not going to be the worst winter storm that we've seen, I think in general, if you're going to be traveling around Racine, Kenosha, Lake-Geneva, really from Wednesday night through the day on Thursday, be careful. Increase your following distance. Slow down. Give yourself extra time to reach your destination because road conditions are not going to be ideal.